That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
All right, welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with me, Karen B, and of course, Just Jack Flat Earth.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, y'all.
Nothing fancy today. We kind of talked about it the last time about how there's a common belief that the Bible is completely chauvinistic. Women have no rights, no inheritance, etc., etc. This chapter absolutely debunked. Right,
Oh, Zach, you're breaking up a little bit. Jack, Jack, frozen. Oh, shit. And he's frozen. All right. Well, we'll just give Jack a minute to come back.
1, 2.
Oh, you're back. Okay. You froze completely.
Are we good?
Yeah, but like when you started describing the chapter, you got all robot-y and then froze for a minute. But you're okay now.
Sorry about the robot, folks. I'm not a fan of it myself. I was saying that last time we were talking about the genealogies, and there's a conception of the women having no inheritance, and that the Bible's completely chauvinistic, etc., etc. And the verses that I addressed last time also are addressed in this. It goes into more detail in this chapter, and we've addressed this before, but I just wanted to reiterate the situation where in the Torah you'll get like a short um synopsis or an overarching telling of a story, and then in further chapters they'll get into the details of why that verse existed or why those few verses existed, gets into more details about that situation. And this is one of those situations because the previous verse mentions the daughters very briefly in a sentence, and then the next chapter is based all on that. So I'm going to give my disclaimer. Just Jack's disclaimer. To the religious, if you believe it's wrong to study scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scriptures shouldn't be studied at all, then the stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion, believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then the stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for words as well as context from a non-religion perspective. We will as well have life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism, or Muslim. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scriptures. All right, there we go. And we'll go quick review over here. And I hope I'm not chopping up at all.
No, you're all right. I'll let you know if there's a
Okay.
problem.
All right. So they were taking a consensus. They're just about to enter into the promised land. And the previous generation, the ones who actually came out of Mitzrayim, aka Egypt, have all passed away. The only ones left are Kalev, aka the dog, and Yehoshua, aka Joshua, who becomes the successor to Moses. So you know, so it reiterates the stories of people who have rebelled against Yah, for saying like we want like all the accolades of Moshe, and they were consumed by the earth eating them. The earth opened up and they went in, and let's see down here, trying to find where the daughters came in. Oh, I went too fast here. Sorry. I should have bookmarked it. So sons. I mean, you could just take my word for it. It's in here. Find it yourself. Oh my goodness. Okay, so
Well, in 7,
but
they start
among the
talking about the daughters.
yeah, I can't find that right on cue.
It
it is
says
60 verses I'm skimming through.
number 27, verse 8, and speak to the children of Israel, saying, when a man dies and has no son, then you shall
No, no,
call.
no, no. We're reviewing 26.
Oh,
27 is what we're in.
oh, okay.
26 is what talks about it briefly. That's what I was trying to show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, here we go. Verse 33.
30,
Ironically.
33.
Yeah. All right. So Slofchad, son of Hefer, who had no sons but daughters, and the names of the daughters were of Sefchlad were Machala, Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tirzah. So that's what the next chapter is about. Okay. And then in the end verses here, it says, these are the ones registered by Moshe and Eleazar the priest, who registered the sons of Israel in the desert plains of Moab, in the yard by the Yarden of Jericho, aka the Jordan of Jericho, Jordan River. But among these was not a man registered by Moshe and Elharon the priest when they registered the sons of Israel in the wilderness of Sinai. So in other words, one second. They did a counting of Moshe and Elharon right after they came out of Mitzrayim, and now Elharon has passed on, and Eleazar is the new high priest. And of the men that counted, none were left of the original generation. For Jehovah had said to them, they shall certainly die in the wilderness, and no man was left of them except Caleb and son of Euphana and Yehoshua son of Nun. Okay, so now we are on chapter 27 and talking about the daughters of
Zelophehad. Zelophehad.
Salafchad.
Zelophehad. Why do they have to change the spellings like right next to each other? Can we just be consistent?
Well, that's because you got the English up top. These are the
know.
headings that came with the King James Version. And then this is the Scriptures version, which actually tries to spell out the actual pronunciation based on the letters. So if you look at it in straight Hebrew, it's right here. You got the Tzadi, Lamed, Fe, Het, Dalet. Salef, Chad. So that's why. All right.
All right. Then came the daughters of Salafhad, son of Hefer, son of Gilad, son of Machir, son of Menasheshe, from the clans of Menasheshe, son of Yosef. And these were the names of his daughters.
Okay, before you get into the names of the daughters, because, yeah, it's already a mouthful, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is we're going all the way back in generations to Joseph, right? Joseph was the guy who was the main man in charge, except for the Pharaoh himself in Egypt when they had the drought. This is why the Israelites ended up in Egypt in the first place, right? Mitzrayim in the first place. So Joseph gave birth to Menashesha, who gave birth to Machir, who gave birth to Gilad, who gave birth to Hefer, who gave birth to Selefchad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Selefchad did not have any sons. He only had daughters. Okay, go ahead. Now you can read the daughters.
Okay. And the names of his daughters, Mahla, Noah, and Hagla, and Milcah, and Tirzah.
Right. And just to make sure that people don't get this mistaken for Noah, as in Noah of the Ark, Noah's real name is Noach.
Yeah.
And this is Noah, as in shake or rattle. Okay. So let's see what the King James Version has here. So they have it spelled the same as Noah and the Ark.
Right.
And people might think, oh, well, that's the same name, which is like to rest or sigh, and it's not. So that's why it is kind of important to have it transliterated that way, because if you go back to where it's talking about Noah as in with the ark, there's a dot under the H that makes it the
Mm-hmm.
het.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, verse 2.
And they stood before Moshe and before Eleazar the priest and before the leaders and all the congregation by the doorway of the tent of appointment, saying,
Okay, and the tent of the appointment is often called the tabernacle. In this case, it's called the tabernacle of the congregation. But this is a moed appointment, as in the moedim, the appointed times of Yah. So tent of appointment is more accurate. All right, 3.
Our father died in the wilderness, yet he was not in the company of those who were met together against Jehovah, in company with Korah, but he died in his own sin, and he had no sons.
Okay, so what they're saying is he didn't die in the rebellion, where he like came against Yah, but he did die in the sin where that generation was not entering in.
Mm-hmm.
And that sin, of course, is not a sin. It's the distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
The separation.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Why should the name of our father be removed from among his clan because he had no son? Give us a possession among the brothers of our father.
All right.
Moshe,
So what they're saying is our uncles and their children are continuing on, but my father, our father doesn't continue on because he doesn't have sons.
mm-hmm.
All right. 5.
Moshe then brought their case before Jehovah. And Jehovah spoke to Moshe, saying, the daughters of Zelophehad speak what is right. You should certainly give them a possession of inheritance among their father's brothers, and cause the inheritance of their father to pass to them.
Okay. Another thing I wanted to point out is that, sometimes it says Jehovah said, and this is the word for said, Amer, where it usually says Devar, word, like an order, but this is actually the Amar speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. 8.
And speak to the children of Israel, saying, when a man dies and has no son, then you shall cause his inheritance to pass to his daughter.
Okay.
And
So they're not exclusive. They don't have to hurry up and find somebody else to marry. They don't have to live with their uncle. It will go directly to the daughter if he has no sons. All right.
And if he has no daughter, then you shall give his inheritance to his brothers. And if he has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to his father's brothers. And if his father has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to the nearest relative in his clan, and he shall possess it, and it shall be to the children of Israel a law of right ruling, as Jehovah commanded Moshe.
Okay, so it stays in the family, obviously. And the likelihood of it happening this way, like, well, if he doesn't have daughters, then he gives it to his brother. If he doesn't have a brother, then he gives it to his uncle, and so on and so forth.
Right.
So the likelihood of it traveling that far is pretty slim.
Yeah, that's pretty much how we do things today, unless the state gets involved and
right,
steals
exactly.
it all.
Yeah, there is no possibility of the government inheriting the land in this situation. It's just not. It's not possible, because the land basically has the name of the family forever. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. And Jehovah said to Moshe, go up into his mount Avarim and see the land which I have given to the children of Israel.
Okay, so when I read this in English, I'm like Abraham, Mount Abrim, right? Because Avram was before Avraham, he was Avram, which this could be mistaken for that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is actually the root word of the crossing over, the Hebrew, the Ivri. So this is Ha Avrim. So it's the Ivrim. the Hebrews, the Mount Hebrews. So it could be, yeah,
All right.
13.
And when you have seen it, you also shall be gathered to your people as Aharon your brother was gathered.
Okay, so he's saying you're about to pass on from this life, is what it's about there.
Because you rebelled against my mouth in the wilderness of sin, in the strife of the congregation, to set me apart at the waters before their eyes. These were the waters of Meribah at Kadesh in the wilderness of sin.
Right. Yeah, we went over that a couple times about how he was supposed to declare the rock. Instead, he struck the rock
That's right.
out of his frustration to get water because they were, and they're like, he's like, you're not complaining at me, you're complaining at Yah. So
And Moshe spoke to Yehovah, saying, Let Yehovah, the Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, appoint a man over the congregation who
okay,
go.
so I like this here because it's the Elohim of the spirits of all flesh. I really like that. That's not an often title that appears.
Right,
The
I don't recall seeing that yet. That's the first time
Yeah,
I've read it here, so.
yeah, and it says let, but it actually says, well, it actually might be the order. Like this may be the word that I'm looking at, oversee. Um, let's see, to appoint, set. Is it set? Yeah. Yeah, so they changed the order. Um, he oversee or set Yehovah, uh, Elohe, um, the Ruach of to all bodies of human. So this is a atypical situation, but it's Elohim of the spirits of all flesh. I actually like that. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's like, yeah, the spirit is the more important factor of the being rather than the flesh part of it, right? That's the spirit that's the most important part. The ruach, the active unseen existence. All right. 17.
Who goes out before them and comes in before them, who leads them out and brings them in, so that the congregation of Yehovah be not like sheep without a shepherd.
Okay, so this is a New Testament concept, right? Sheep and a shepherd?
Mm-hmm.
No. It's been around since way back here in Torah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the problem I have with, just New Testament believers. They think that everything that Yeshua came up with was a brand new concept that he just started this new revolution. No, he's just referring back to the Torah all the time. All right, 18.
And Yehovah said to Moshe, Take Yehoshua son of Nun with you, a man in whom is the Spirit, and you shall lay your hand on him.
Okay, so few things to unpack here. Yehoshua is actually Joshua in English, right? Son of Nun. This is very important because you'll see where the older versions of King James Version, now they fixed them fairly recently, actually. But like if you get like a King James Version from like 1980 or so, when you go to Acts and it says Joshua the son of Nun, it actually says Jesus the son of Nun because they have the same name. And they made the mistake of distinguishing between Joshua and Jesus. And so you can see that Jesus and Joshua are the same name. Now, that's the anglicized version. They're both of them Yehoshua. Jehovah is our salvation. So, yeah. So now he's going to be the one in charge. And the other thing is that, the concept is a New Testament concept that you can be filled with the Spirit, but it literally says that Yehoshua in him is the Spirit. So, all right. So lay your hand on him. All right. Go ahead.
And shall set him before Eleazar the priest and before all the congregation, and give him command before their eyes.
Okay.
And shall put some of your esteem upon him, so that all the congregation of the children of Israel obey him.
Okay, and this just esteem is okay, it's a 2-word. So this esteem, sometimes honor is translated from the word kavod, which means weight, aka glory, but in this case it's not. This esteem is of splendor or the shouting, like the way that you stick out, Moshe, he will, like, the splendor, the sticking outness of it, right? The do shouting of it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is important to it's not glory as it typically is. This is more like the esteem is a close enough word, like the way that your presence shouts. Yeah.
All right. And he is to stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall inquire before Jehovah for him by the right ruling of the Urim. At his word they go out, and at his word they come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, all the congregation.
Okay. Do you remember the Urim?
I don't.
Okay. So back when they were talking about the priest with the stones in the chest plate,
Mm-hmm.
the Urim is like basically they cast it and somehow it produces a light that gives them the answer. Urim and Thummim. So this is the stone that casts the light that gives you an answer. I don't know,
Oh.
but this is what
So
we
it's
can
like
actually go there.
runes. It's like runes almost, sort of.
Yeah, yeah. It's I mean, we don't know exactly what it is, but
That's what it sounds like.
we can assume because it comes from the root word light, right? And then the description is here in Exodus 28. Thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart when he goeth in before Jehovah. And Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before Jehovah continually. So that's the Urim. And again, it comes from the root word of Ur, which means light. So yeah, so when in the beginning, El said, "Let there be Ur."
Mm-hmm.
Let there be light. All right. So that's that same word. So just FYI for people who are interested. I find it very interesting
Yeah,
that there's this stone on his chest that produces light that gives him an answer. It's pretty cool.
that's weird.
All right. 22.
Okay. And Moshe did as Jehovah commanded him, and took Yehoshua and set him before Eleazar the priest and before all the congregation, and laid his hands
Okay. So
on
public display.
yeah,
Yep.
and laid his hands on him, and commissioned him as Jehovah commanded by the hand of Moshe.
All right. So now the the mantle is being passed on. Moshe stepping down. Yehoshua is being elevated to being the man in charge to get answers from Jehovah to lead the people into the promised land. So we're heading there. We're getting close. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna look at the chat here really quick. Shout out to Lord Racer, TZ Zamman, Aisling717. What's up, Cammy? Tony Coriolis, Carrie Musgrave, Daryl Davis, NBD, Kimmy's Playhouse, first timer. Good to have you, Kimmy. FE Nation, what's up? Captain Construction, Alex Javier, Dose of Reality with Brian Stavely. Wow, that's such a long name. Just kidding.
He
Let's
likes
see.
long titles, though. He likes that.
Kurt, Melissa, Jimmy, Nathan, Rasta Bear, Jenny Spark, if I did not already mention, Catherine MC. Okay, that's it. Oh, Geo World. All right. So going through here. Tony Coriolis says he who chalks, FYI.
Alex Javier says, Karen, did you get my IGRFB message of a video comparing Geneva 1500s versus KJV version and how the Geneva is way more accurate to the original translations between the two? No, I did not see that message, Alex, but I am aware of that. And that is why when I purchased a physical Bible, I did purchase a Geneva, what was it, like 1500 something Bible with the,
Yeah.
with the Apocrypha.
Yep. Yeah, that's how it always goes, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the older the version, the closer it's going to be to the original, the
Yeah.
more accurate it's going to be, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did not see the video yet. Yes, I am aware. I went down that rabbit hole because when I first decided to take my own path of studying scripture rather than going to religious buildings, that I was trying to find the most accurate version of the Bible. And the further back you go, the closer it gets.
Mm-hmm.
But then the English language gets broken apart. And then when you get back to a certain point, then you can see they're still in their own dictionaries, their own what do you call them? Concordances, that you can see there's bias in their definitions.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to go back and learn the original language to see why they translated it that way. So, okay, so I want a smart glowing rock, LOL. Yeah. There's other places in the scriptures where they make a decision and they claim that it's directed by Yah when they cast lots. It's no different than basically throwing dice to get an answer. So in other words, they're the things that are left to chance. Well, does Yah have control of those things? And that's for you to decide. Marky Rizzo, shout out to you because I saw you pop in at the last minute. Gonna have to re-listen later. Lots to ponder. Yeah. I know I'm going fast through these things, and the reason that I leave my translation up on the right hand side is so that you can pause it, stare at it, look at it. Charles Arnold, accurate. Please define accurate. Accurate as in, like, if you look at multiple translations and you'll see one word that's translated multiple times or multiple different ways, it kind of raises a flag, and you can find out the more accurate definition by looking at the root of the word, just like I just looked up the word urim being from the word light. And you can even do it from the base translation. Let me go to KJV here. And then let's see. Urim. Okay, so here's Urim right here. And even if I go to the basic, like, just about anyone who has done basic study of the Hebrew language or the Bible will have what's called a Strong's Concordance. And in the Strong's Concordance, if you click on Urim, it'll say the plural of this number here, aka lights, the oracular, the oracular brilliancy of the figures in the high priest's breastplate. So
oracular,
it's an oracle
of or relating or being to an oracle.
Right.
Prophetic.
That's what I was going to say. It's an oracle, right? That's a weird word. Oracular brilliancy. I don't know.
Oracular. It's just saying that whatever it is related to
of an oracle.
Of an oracle, yeah.
Yeah.
Of relating to or being an oracle. So it's an oracle. It's a stone that is an oracle. Wonder what it was.
Right. So then if I click on this number, going to the root of the word, the root is or, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it comes from, so this is funny, right? Aleph Vav Resh comes from the root Aleph Vav Resh. So this is the kind of stuff that I find out when I start studying the Hebrew language, where the root and this word are exactly the same, but in some places they translate it some way, and the other places they translate it other way, like flame, right? It's just light.
It's but really because of the
Go ahead.
Or is gold, like in modern, language, or is like OR, that's like the root for gold.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so, because, well, actually, let's see.
So the word light is always going to be light, but in a couple instances they didn't like the word light there, so they would put the word flame. So in this case, they changed it to flame. And then if you go to the root word, again, Aleph, Vav, Resh, and yes, this is a long study on one word, but this is what I do. This is the and by the way, it takes longer to explain it than just look at it. But to make luminous, right? So it's just light. And then if you go back to search for this root, ch215. Okay, so this one, in the heavens to give light, right? And then if you go back to Genesis 1:1, so this is number 215, or, and then in verse 3, this is also or 216 instead of 215, even though it's the same word, the same exact word. So why would they have a different number for 1:3 and a different number for 1:15? You know, this is what I'm talking about. Like two definitions that are exactly the same, but you have to number it differently. So this is what I mean by more accurately, like going back to the root, going back to the origin of the word to figure out how they translated it this way or why they translated it this way. Like one of my favorite discoveries from doing this research is where it says 10 commandments, where it literally says 10 words. So, you know, once you start, you know, pulling on the threads of translation, you can see how sometimes it's purposely changed. It's a shame, but it's true.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Accurate, please define. Give him a charge. Give him charge. Okay. So, yeah, I think she's making the parallel of light charging and him being in charge, I think. But yeah, geo world light equals or to Orim plural. Yeah, exactly. Where'd you get that font? Awesome. Which font? I'm not sure. If we're talking about this one over here, this is basically built in. This is Titus Cyber bit something something, but the Hebrew and the English translate very nicely there. Okay. Anyway. Oh, maybe he was talking to Geo World, which is using Hebrew Arial, which is like a stick figure type of Hebrew. Okay. Came with normal. Yeah, there's a lot of good Hebrew fonts out there. It's just most people don't download them because most people are just using English, you know. But I have a lot of Hebrew fonts in my computer now. My wife had me draw matchsticks to see if Yah approval for her to marry me. Cool. I mean, it says wife, so I guess it worked. So, or is yellow or gold color, not gold the substance? Maybe. I don't know.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Because
it might just be the way that they described it, like it's a very good reflector of light.
Well,
like,
or is relating to like metallic stuff that's metallic, like, you know, when you mine.
Oh, like ORE, like when you mine ore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's mining,
which
it's
is
mining metallic minerals.
The base of the element. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was the one language before Tower of Babel, you think? Oh my gosh. I mean, Alex, you know you're starting stuff like this. Obviously, I think it was a variation of ancient Hebrew, right? So, there are good videos on this. Check out the guy who made the Patterns of Evidence, the Exodus movie, and then just go down that rabbit hole and watch all of his videos. Very interesting stuff. There is some hard evidence that Hebrew is the first phonetic language. And the reason I'm giving you quotes of phonetic is because they used to believe that Phoenicians were the ones who started the phonetic language, but there's actual proof of the Hebrew alphabet existing before that.
Also in Spanish, the word for gold is oro. And there's
There you go.
Other languages use that as the word for gold. That's why I say that.
Yeah. It's strange when you like go back. This is a same thing as like going back to the older versions of the Bible, right, in English print. If you go back in older versions of language, it gets closer and closer to Hebrew every time. Like there's so many words rooted in Hebrew that you don't know until you look. And then you'll see how they build up to like the Latin, right? The Latin adopt a lot of the Hebrew words and then put their own spin on it, which became English, right? So Hebrew to Greek, Hebrew to Aramaic, Aramaic to Greek, Greek to Latin, Latin to English is how we got our Bible. And that's four generations deep. So if you go back 4 generations, you'll get closer and closer and closer to the original language. All right.
All right.
Closing the chat.
Then Charles says you mine ore. Yeah, I get it. But
Yeah,
you mine the ore to get the metals, and then, you know, in other
and
languages,
then, like she said,
the word for gold
older languages
is ore. Oro.
Yeah, older languages goes back to
They use that word for gold.
English is
because when you mine ore, the number one thing they wanted to mine was what? Gold.
I'm just gonna say it. English is a theft language.
Well, yeah, and it's
English doesn't exist on its own. It's stole from everybody else. So, okay, so we may not do this chapter next. We may skip this.
Why? What's wrong with it?
We can go through it if we want, but it's something that's not required of us. Bringing offerings to the tabernacle, we can go through it. I'm fine with it, but if you don't want to, we can skip it. We can go through it if you want. We are getting close to the end of the book, so.
Okay.
But it's like daily offerings, Sabbath offerings, monthly offerings.
Who's this intended for? Who is this intended for?
The Israelites in the wilderness bringing sacrifices to the tabernacle, to the high priest, none of which we have anymore. But we can go over it. I don't mind at all. It kind of gets into the Moedim as well, so it's not that bad.
Whatever. I don't care.
Okay.
If you think it's relevant,
well, it's kind of like
at it. If not,
it's kind of like it's almost like the generational thing, like, but it's okay. We'll figure it out.
What?
What?
I was looking at Alex's last question.
I closed my chat. What? Do you want to read it?
He says, question, I wonder if AI, quote, and in parentheses, the good one in the future, end quote, or end parenthesis, can make the most accurate to understand the best at the moment of all the languages of the world. I'm not sure I understand.
I don't know, creating one language?
I wonder if AI, the good one in the future, can make the most accurate to understand the best at the moment of all the languages of the world. Like a new language from AI?
I don't know. Anyway.
All right, well.
A lot of... Go ahead. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say to that. I have no idea.
All right, have a good day, folks. Have a restful day. Have a restful day.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you for joining us once again for another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study. And we hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, a restful day, and Shabbat Shalom.